Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. And as you can see, I am joined by two very, very special guests. And to begin with, starting on my left, a first appearance on the channel for him, and that is Owen from the Cop On podcast. Owen, how are you doing, my friend?
Thank you very much, Connor. I'm very, very well. Absolutely delighted to be here. It's really nice that you've got me on as a guest. So thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure having you on, mate. Well overdue, I think that's what, realistically. Of course, guys, please go over to the Cop On. It is in the comment section down below and in the video description down below as well. But if I can quickly show you on screen as well, if you go onto Spotify, there it is, the Cop On podcast. Absolutely brilliant. I listen to it, even if I am a guest on there occasionally. I do very, very, very much recommend you go and check out the Cop On podcast. But as Douglas disappears, and you saw Douglas was our next special guest, but as we know, Doug's internet is it's a bit nah, but we do have Douglas when he's got his internet working, then we will get get him on the channel as always. But guys, as usual as well, if you could do me the massive favor and please give this video a like, it's massively appreciated if you could do so. And also as well, if you're new to the Cop Council, then please hit that subscribe button, because we're getting more fancy guests, we're getting plenty more people, and Douglas is headed off, so we will get him on as soon as we can. But of course, tonight we're going to be talking majorly about transfers. Now, of course, this is silly season, if you really want to call it that, because that's what transfers are. They are silly. We get this massive price tags about and that, all like that. Owen, I'll ask you this: are you excited for Liverpool's silly season, if you really want to call it that?
Well, I can't stop thinking about it. I don't know if excited is the exact word, because there's not much to get excited about. Kostas Tsimikas looks great. We've needed a backup left back for a little while, so very happy with him. And of course, I'd never heard of him 2 months ago. So, good job for everybody at Liverpool to keep it a secret, as usual. But of course, the main one, it's like a dream that, as much as I'm having nightmares about Gini Wijnaldum, jumping a floating ship and jumping onto a sinking ship of Barcelona. I'm having nightmares for him as much as anyone else. Of going to Barcelona. I'm also dreaming the beautiful dream of Thiago Alcantara. And, I'm like you, I'm sure I'm like every Liverpool fan, I'm checking the news all the time, checking Twitter, seeing, basically, if I lived in Britain, I'd probably drive to James Pearce's house and set up tent just outside so I can actually hear it first. I'll sort of put a wiretap on his window, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of us, I think we're all, checking Twitter, checking, newspaper articles, checking any little piece of informational data, to go, oh yeah, we're definitely going to go and sign him. And, I know that you've just mentioned there, a certain Dutch midfielder that is currently in the news quite a lot right now at this present time. And if I do show you guys, of course, we are talking about the situation with Thiago Alcantara, and we are talking about Gini Wijnaldum as well. But as you can see on screen right now, hopefully, James Pearce has had his words about it, saying that as things stand right now, Barcelona have yet to contact LFC over Gini Wijnaldum. No bids, no talk, despite reports to the contrary. Now, of course, James Pearce is, the number one Liverpool journalist. He just simply is. It's between him and Melissa Reddy for me, and Paul Joyce as well. Them three are the most reliable sources realistically. And now, according to Spanish reports as well, Gini Wijnaldum has been offered a 3-year contract with Barcelona under Ronald Koeman, of course, becoming Barcelona manager. Of course, Dutch manager before that. Owen, do you think that that's a worry for Liverpool in that aspect of things, that, Barcelona have Ronald Koeman, as that, as that fishing rod, really, to, bring and rail him in to the Barcelona squad?
Yeah, it's a nice image. I like the fishing rods. Yeah, it's a nice one. It does feel like that, doesn't it? I mean, Gini Wijnaldum plays a slightly different role under Koeman, played, for the Netherlands national team, of course, slightly more attacking. And I believe, as Doug comes back, hello again, Doug.
Hello,
we're
Doug.
talking about Gini Wijnaldum. So Wijnaldum, I think he had 6 goals in his last 8 internationals, I believe, which is unbelievable. And so he's playing as a sort of, a midfielder encouraged to make those forward runs, get into the box. And we know that he's lethal when given a chance. But for Liverpool, he's much more withdrawn. He's there to link the play and to, break things up. And I'm really worried in the sense that I don't, his skill set is unique for Liverpool, isn't it? Like, we don't have another midfielder. I mean, there are almost no midfielders in the world as good as Gini. The all-round package. He's got everything, hasn't he? He makes the way he glides about the pitch, and it looks effortless, which is the sign of a top player, isn't it? So, I think we will. On some level, we're gonna miss him if he does indeed go. But reassuring, I didn't know that James Pearson posted that there's been no contact yet between the clubs. Because I don't know, what do you think? I mean, wouldn't you say that it makes more business sense for Liverpool to keep him for 1 year and lose him for nothing, and have a player of his caliber in the squad?
For me personally, I agree with that. I think we should keep hold of him for the extra year if his mind is turned. But then, in saying that as well, if his mind has been turned by Koeman and this Barcelona dream, even though it's a wrecking ball right now, they can't even get Messi to turn up to training, let alone trying to keep hold of him for the summer. There's just bits at Barcelona at the minute that are falling apart. And in my personal opinion, why would you want to go and join that while at the minute you're currently at the Premier League champions, the former European champions that you won, in Madrid, and for me, I would because of course the rumors are at the minute Liverpool have to sell to buy, in that aspect of things. But, I for me, I would just keep hold of Gini and then, go out and buy Thiago. What could be so bad? But that's my opinion anyway. But as you can see now, we are finally joined by Mr. Douglas Horn. Hopefully, and fingers crossed, the internet's finally working. Doug, what's your opinion on the whole Gini Wijnaldum, Thiago Alcantara situation?
I mean, honestly, I said to you earlier, I feel totally tired over this whole thing, because you just don't know what to read anymore. You just do not know what to read. I mean, one report said that Wijnaldum had agreed a deal with Barcelona, but to be honest with you, I'm just getting sick and tired of it until we see words like bid accepted, or him or Thiago holding a shirt inside Millwood, or coming inside Millwood with the shirt on. Then I'll believe it, because I'm just saying this now. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's going to be very interesting to see where he does end up, because I did read another report that apparently Manchester United have pulled out of the race because he wants Liverpool, which is very, very good news for us, because obviously, whether we pay the money or not, I think is another matter. But I think looking at it, if we can get players like Wilson away, I think Grujic is wanting by Hertha Berlin again as well. But to be honest, I'm just getting sick and tired of it. And I'm looking forward to when we actually finally get him. But I would be sad to lose Genie. I'm one of those fans who absolutely loves Genie, and it just feels like if he leaves, then he'll be a club. He's a club legend anyway because of obviously what so many important goals he scored for us. I remember him giving us the goal to give us the Champions League in the 2016-2017 season. And we beat Middlesbrough 3-0 that day. And he scored the first goal. And, if he hadn't scored the first goal, then, maybe it would have been a very, very difficult afternoon against Middlesbrough. So he deserves a lot of credit, and especially the Barcelona game. He will always be remembered for the Barcelona game. So if he does move on, he will get my best wishes because he has been a fantastic servant for Liverpool Football Club.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. And undisputedly, I think that, you said it perfectly there, there's been so many important games and goals that Gini Wijnaldum's been a part of, over history. When you think about it, number 6 wouldn't have even been a thing without Gini Wijnaldum and those 2 goals at Anfield, in that, massive comeback against Barcelona. It's just absolutely, I think I put if I can find it, I think I did save it. I put the tweet out yesterday, and this, there's gotten lots of traction, but and I have to clarify this as well. I said not only is he underrated in world football's eyes, Gini Wijnaldum is truly underrated in our own club. Now, what I meant by this was not so much Liverpool Football Club itself in terms of manager and staff. I meant fans, because the amount of, and this is probably just Twitter trolls and things like this, but the amount of people I have seen since Gini Wijnaldum's been linked with a move away from Liverpool has just been horrible. He has done so well for Liverpool, and I've said this plenty of times. I wasn't a fan of Gini Wijnaldum coming into Liverpool, for £25 million. I had a few Newcastle friends that was, saying, "Oh, thank you for the 25 million. You can have him," type thing. Jurgen Klopp brought him in from a left midfielder to play centre midfield, and I was wrong within the first game. And I'm happily to admit it now, I was 100% wrong about Gini Wijnaldum. And I think fans, they just, as football, it's a very fickle sport. And it's like having a goldfish memory. You remember one thing one week, the next week, they're the worst player in the world, quite frankly. And that's my personal opinion anyway. But guys, let us know in the comment section down below. I haven't read anyone's comments. I do apologize. Just really want to get into these two gentlemen's, thoughts and opinions about the topics we have to talk about tonight. Data is in. How are you, Data? Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. Liz is in as well. How are you, Liz? Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. How is everyone feeling? How is everyone feeling?
I'm pretty ecstatic because I got an email at about 8 o'clock saying that my Liverpool top for the new season is to be delivered tomorrow. So I must be sad, but I am excited for getting my new top. I've not actually had a new top probably since the 2017-2018 season, so that was a long time ago.
Owen, how are you feeling?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Very well. What can I say? I'm in Spain with my family, visiting my mum lives here and my brother is here visiting as well. Really nice to spend time with the family. So yeah, things are really good. Going back to Paris on Saturday, so enjoying the last few days here, and it's lovely to be away. I don't know, I'm sure you guys know, I'm still in holiday mode. Still got my my Bermuda shorts on, so yeah. Feeling pretty good.
I think all of us would love a holiday away right now. I think that's like all of our no, it's fine. Data says great, thanks. Liz says hi, Owen. Liz also says good afternoon, lads. Ruby's in as well. How are you, Rube? Hopefully having a fantastic day. Hello, Owen, Connor, and Doug. Liz says Connor is getting fancy again. I am, Liz. I'm really getting fancy with StreamYards and we're finally understanding StreamYards, because StreamYards they add weird things, and we're finally getting used to it. I don't know what that means. Doug says, Douglas the Lion-Hearted, where did you go? Scottish internet. I'll keep on referring it to that.
to be fair though, it has been pissing with rain recently. It's been so heavy today, and that does affect the internet sometimes. So apologies, people.
That is very true. And when I mean Scottish internet, I mean in a very friendly, banterous way, not having to go at any Scottish people with internet problems. Just saying. Liz says transfer season is gossip for football fans. Yes, it is. It's like our Hollywood gossip talk, if you really want to call it that. You know, that's practically for us. Data said we should bring in Thiago and keep Gini. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I think that, you know, that's realistically, you know, what I think all of us want. Liz says, well, Gini is so friggin' dependable. Yeah, absolutely. Liz says as well, Data, who would you sign only two? I think Data might have said, you know, bring in two players. Data says Thiago and Mbappe. That's enough. Won't get greedy. Maybe 2022, maybe Mbappe, but not this season. Not this season. Liz also says Mbappe may be a little greedy. Maybe.
That's a bit of an understatement, to be honest with you. But no, Gini's a club legend anyway, because he replied to me on Twitter, so I'm pretty happy with that.
That's nice for some people. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so overall, you know, I think all of us are a bit disappointed. We will get back to your comments in a little bit, but I really want to, you know, move forward and talk about, you know, the title of the video. You know, we're going to be talking about transfers. You know, who doesn't like talking about transfers? And realistically, now that we've got, you know, the main topic out the way, Thiago Alcantara and Gini Wijnaldum, now the main focus is what else do Liverpool need to add to the squad? And I think that is probably the most crucial bit. You know, I think that every single Premier League winners team has added something, and when teams haven't added in any shape or form, they have struggled the next season. You know, I look back at when Manchester City won their first title. I think they lost more people than they did adding people, and they ended up, you know, completely falling away from Manchester United the next season. So I don't think Liverpool are going to be as bad as that, personally. But Owen, you know, looking towards the squad, you know, would you say there's any particular area that Liverpool do need to, you know, add to the numbers, then you could say?
Well, I mean, it depends on a few different factors, doesn't it? It's very interesting to see Brewster, you know, having done so well in January. So, you know, a sort of poacher in the box. We've got that one ticked. I mean, we've already got Origi, and if Klopp was saying, you know, that Brewster needs to develop lots of different parts of his game, but his finishing is great. Origi's already that kind of player, isn't he? I mean, he's very, very clinical. You know, perhaps he takes a heavy touch now and again, and his passing is a bit wayward. And so Brewster, maybe, you know, he's younger. Maybe he can learn. But I think I'm happy to keep them both, to be honest, Origi and Brewster. But I think we need someone out wide in an attacking sense with pace. That's something we don't have on the bench. Is out and out pace. Someone to frighten them. Just someone who can run. You know, even if they're just a sprinter, more or less. So I would like to see that. Also, in terms of a defensive player, I really like the look of Kumetio. He's 17. I've seen him for a grand total of about, I don't know, 70 minutes, including youth football, a couple of games. You know, I'm convinced he's better than Baresi. He's got everything. He's the new Ron Yates. But he's, I would bring him through slowly. And I would also, I would like to actually see us buy a defensive midfielder, especially if Wijnaldum leaves. Now, this is something that not many people are talking about, but a defensive midfielder who can, number one, push Fabinho for a starting spot. And if it managed to dislodge Fabinho, then if Joe Gomez and Joel Matip get injured, Fabinho can actually challenge to be the number one partner for Virgil van Dijk. I think he's that good as a centre-back that I think he'd be brilliant at that. So I'd like to see a defensive midfielder and a pacey wide man. They're my two that I would love to see. I mean, if it's Thiago Alcantara, that's the dream of a defensive midfielder. But, if not, I've looked at a few others that might be interesting. Den Donker from Wolves, for example, is 25 years old. He's got less than 2 years left of his contract. And he's affordable compared to someone who I absolutely adore is Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester, but it's less realistic, that one, because he would be super expensive probably. But I love this player. I don't know. Yeah. What about you?
I believe Den Donker is on his way to Merseyside, but I believe he's on the blue half of Merseyside. I think that's been confirmed. I think, or near enough confirmed.
Well done, Carlo. He's a good player.
Yeah, he is. I think that they've signed. I think they've signed James Rodriguez, Den Donker. I cannot remember the other player that they've signed.
Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Maybe.
I heard Doucouré was someone who Everton is very, very close to Everton. I think it was Paul Joyce who tweeted that, or Paul Gorst, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think player. I think you mentioned their defensive midfielder, and I know this guy has been rumored, for some time. I think he's been since maybe January last year, and that was Marco. What's his name? It's literally just escaped my mind now. Brozovic. Yeah, Brozovic from Inter Milan. And apparently he would be around 25, 30 million pounds, according to reports in Italy anyway. Doug, Owen's just mentioned there, defensive midfielder, a defender, of course, Dejan Lovren leaving, and now that hole needs to be filled. Is there any particular area where, yourself, do you think defence needs adding to, defensive midfield? Do you think a pacey winger is needed? What's your overall thoughts on the squad?
I think the squad is good. I think it could do with a few reinforcements. I'm looking at the if Salah gets injured, then we've really only sort of got Shaqiri and Elliott. I did see that we were being linked with Patson Daka from Red Bull Salzburg. Surprisingly enough, I think he scored 2 against us in the friendly. I think that was another one, but he's very, very pacey. I suppose the question is about Ismaila Sarr as well, but I'm not sure the club will pay 40 million quid for him. So I don't see that. If we're talking about centre backs now, obviously, if people have obviously subscribed to me, you will obviously see a video that came out a couple of days ago, and I did a full player profile on Christopher Ayer. Now, I've been raving about this guy for a couple of seasons now. He's 22 years of age. And the thing is about Liverpool and Scandinavian players, we love to buy them. We love to buy a Scandinavia player. So I reckon that, and he fits Klopp's profile as well. He's 6'6". He likes to bomb forward. He can play across all the back as well. He can play right backs, sort of right centre back, left centre back, you name it. I think he's a defensive midfielder at times as well, so that could cover the defensive midfielder role as well. But apart from that, I think we're pretty sound, to be honest. I think obviously we'll see a few players go. I think we'll see Karius go. I think he's gonna leave. I think we're basically set with Alisson and Adrian as obviously goalkeepers this season, and obviously Kelleher, who I believe got a call up to the Republic of Ireland squad. So congratulations, Quayheem. I think I've pronounced that right. Sorry if there's any Irish viewers who are watching that, but I think that's a pretty bad pronunciation anyway. But apart from that, I think only really a PC winger and maybe a defender, and obviously Thiago would be perfect for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny enough, one player that you did mention there, and I know you did do a match, not match preview, what man about a a scout report then realistically on him, and that was Christopher Adja. I think that's how you pronounce it. Aya. There we go.
There we go. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, we finally know how to pronounce it now. But yeah, you did mention him, to be fair, and of course, as I do like to look, on transfer market, as you guys can see right now on your screen, according to transfer market, he's only worth £3.6 million, which would be an absolute steal if possible. But according to people related with Celtic anyway, they have said you're looking at more £20 million for the Norway international. And as Doug said there, as you can see on screen right now, he has played right back, defensive midfielder, and centre back, as well. And the interesting thing as well, realistically, as you can see as well, is that his contract runs out in 2022, which isn't too far off. And of course, contracts now are everything in football. Then realistically, Owen, I know that you're a transfer market phenomenon. Then you could say, do you think that if we did sign Christopher Adja, we've just pronounced it, I've butchered it again. Aya, sorry, Aya. If we was to get him, do you think he could be the Dejan Lovren replacement and the perfect replacement, with him only being 22 and having plenty of time for improvement?
I'm not in a position to comment. I am in the position to say that I'm not a transfer, whatever you just called me, because I should know about this guy, but I don't know. I've only just heard about him, really. Doug told me about him only recently, because he is the right profile. That's all I can say. 22 years old, as you say, 6'6", 1m96. If you go in euro, wow. And it's that kind of player that would be great to have. But honestly, with Kumetio suddenly also being about that height, I don't think it's as necessary as another midfielder, especially if Wijnaldum leaves, because Chamberlain, unfortunately, it's so sad to lose another central midfielder. But if Wijnaldum goes, that means we've lost Lallana, Wijnaldum, and Chamberlain to injury so far. Mm. And so we need to bring in at least one, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, isn't it? I think realistically, if Gini does go, then obviously Thiago's the number one replacement. If of course, I think you mentioned him, Owen. I know Fabinho can play fourth choice centre back, and I think realistically, if Liverpool were to go down that Thiago route and couldn't get a player in centre back for less than maybe 10 million, 15 million, then I think that realistically, I think we would keep Fabinho as fourth choice, because we'd have the option of Thiago.
Yeah, but I disagree with you there, Connor. I disagree with you, because I think Fabinho can be second choice centre back. I think he's that good. I think if you've never seen him yet, I think if you've never seen him play defensive midfield before, some of the performances he put in at centre back. Who was he playing in the Champions League? Was it the Champions League? I don't know. I can't remember. But every time he's played at centre back, he's looked really good. He's got all of the attributes. I think he could be the second choice, not the fourth choice. Really, I think he's that good. I think if he was just a centre back, he'd be at least 30 million, maybe 40, 50. If Nathan Ake is 40 million, Fabinho would be 50, in my view.
Rack it up.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Absolutely. Doug, do you agree with Owen in the sense that Fabinho could be second choice centre back instead of fourth?
Yeah, I can, to be honest. Obviously looking at it, we've obviously like Gomez can play right back as well. So obviously if Alexander Arnold's injured, Gomez can move to right back, and then obviously Fabinho can move to second choice centre back. I actually agree with Owen there. I can't actually remember the game off the top of my head, but I do remember him playing centre back for some reason.
It was Bayern first leg when Van Dijk was suspended.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding that night. So I mean, he moved to centre back against Arsenal. Yeah, he did. He looked a bit like people were saying he looked a bit shaky. I didn't think he looked shaky. I thought he looked really, really composed at centre back. So I actually think Klopp could potentially do that. I mean, we know that Fabinho can play right back as well. He plays right back for Brazil as well. So yeah, I think Fabinho, we could see him changing position this season.
Yeah, definitely. I personally, I would disagree with the lads. I think that Fabinho would be, he's a perfect person to put at centre back because, he, like the lads have said, he every time he's played in the position, he's done superb. Can't fault him at all. But I think, if Virgil van Dijk's there and, Joe Gomez is fit and available and also Trent's fit, I think that Fabinho is better going forward than he is defensively in that aspect of things because I feel like if you watch the games like against Manchester United a couple of seasons ago, Fabinho, the lob ball, we've seen it plenty of times, after the restart with, against Crystal Palace, him getting a goal and assist as well. I think Fabinho has a lot more to give going forward than he does defensively, in my personal opinion. But that might change with Thiago coming in, because Thiago, he's just another playmaker, as deep as well. So, maybe if Thiago was to come in, maybe, he might become fourth choice centre, second choice centre back in that aspect of things. But guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you think Fabinho should be Liverpool's number 2 centre back? But let me read a few more comments out for you lovely people. Aaron Davis says hi. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day, Aaron. Chris is in as well. Hi lads. Hope you're all well. Data with the the sunglasses emoji. Liz says hi, Chris Welsh as well. Chris says and ladies, saying hi to lads and ladies. Chris also says hi to Liz. Liz then says, I would love to go anyway. I think that was when we mentioned the holiday bit. Chris says, Scotland, best place to go on holiday. Lovely country, lovely people compared to England. To be fair, the majority of England, yeah, it's not a very much nice place, is it? Apart from Liverpool. Liverpool's quite nice to go. Liz says as well, Douglas, I love you, but it rains more in Florida than it does Scotland.
No. Sorry to say that. I disagree with that totally.
Oh, bloody hell, Liz. Dave is in as well. How are you, Dave? Hopefully having a fantastic day. And says, Owen needs a haircut.
Are you offering, Dave?
To be fair, I think Dave is a man of many talents, so potentially.
I would trust him. I would trust him. He could do like a Jurgen Klopp on the back of my head. That'd be great.
Good hairstyle. Dave, Liz says hi to Dave as well. Dave says hi to Liz. Chris says Brewster is our Mbappe. Yes, would agree with that. Especially from the success he had going on loan to Swansea. He looked very, very deadly. And to be fair, he looked deadly against Salzburg as well. And one thing as well I do have to mention, and it's just crept into my mind. Liverpool play Blackpool on Saturday at 3 p.m. at Anfield. It is on LFC TV and LFC TV Go as well, so you can check it out there. So 3 p.m. on Saturday, so make sure you guys do check that out. Dave said Billy Lad. We all know where that's from. Billy Lad indeed. Chris says Naby Lad. We love Naby Lad on this channel. Data says many will disagree, but I think Bale would be a good signing.
Ooh, interesting.
Lads, Gareth Bale. I'll start off with Doug. Doug, would that be a fantastic signing for Liverpool?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not into the Bale hype, I'm afraid. I saw a picture of him today, and my goodness me, if Dave says Owen needs a haircut, Gareth Bale needs a haircut. His hair is as long as I can remember seeing it. But no, for me, Bale's had his time in the Premier League. I think he is too injury prone as well. I think we've seen that as well. And obviously, the reason that Madrid want rid of him is because obviously, he plays golf a lot. So I think no, not for me. I'm afraid. 96 read data. Sorry, not for me.
Maybe he might end up going to Scotland because Scotland has some nice golf courses. That's a potential thing.
To be fair with you, Connor, I know I'm a Livingston fan, but we couldn't afford Gareth Bale. I actually don't think Rangers or Celtic could afford Gareth Bale. So
no. Well, according to reports today, Real Madrid are looking at around 35 to 40 million for Gareth Bale still.
Dream on.
Yeah. Owen,
dream on, but with purely from a footballing point of view, okay. If let's say we got him for whatever the price, and we could afford his wages, and it wouldn't bust the wage structure and all of this business stuff that is unrealistic. That he would join on purely a football point of view. I totally agree. I mean, I still think he's got a lot of magic in his left foot. We need a left-footed player. I mean, of course. It's wildly unrealistic because he would have to be on the bench. I don't think he's better than Mane or Salah or of course, Bobby. But, if you're talking about a sort of dream sub to bring on, Gareth Bale would be a dream sub to bring on, in my opinion. I mean, just for the football wise. But I don't watch La Liga all that closely. But, from what I see of him, he's still got a bit of magic, even though he doesn't have the pace anymore.
Well, to be fair, I know that you just said about, coming off the bench. Realistically, guys, he come off the bench and scored 2 goals against us in the Champions League final and beat us. So, maybe there is something there with Gareth Bale. I could easily see him coming back to the Premier League. Maybe if that takeover had happened at Newcastle, maybe we might have seen him going there. But who knows? Chris says as well, I would give Grujic a chance to push Fabinho at CDM. Yes, I would keep older Grujic, but it does look like that he is heading back to Germany at the present time anyway. Magic's in as well. How are you, Connor lad? Hopefully having a fantastic day. I think we call everyone lad now. Like we got Nabi lad, Taki lad. Oh, it's crazy with the lads. Liz says, data, I think his wages combined with his injury record make that impossible. I think that's believed to be with Gareth Bale. Yes, probably right. He also said Everton signed him. I think that was when you mentioned Decore, I believe. Aaron said 25 million fee agreed with Decore at Everton. James Rodriguez, Dendonka and Alan. Yes, that was the player I was thinking of. Alan from Napoli.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic signing. I will say that, even though it is Everton, I will say that is a fantastic signing by them to get Alan, which I think many top European clubs were after him. And like Owen said earlier on the show, the power of Carlo Ancelotti. That is finally being proven.
Can I just say something? I'm so glad that Napoli did not qualify for the Champions League this season, because it means they don't have to play them, because they are a bloody bogey side when it comes to the Champions League. I think apart from obviously the Salah winner in obviously 18-19, like we've got a really poor record against Napoli, so I'm very, very glad to not see their name in the Champions League this season. So we avoid them. Hello.
Absolutely. Liz says centre back and competitive forward. I think that's for who you want in this summer. Chris says we need a creative midfielder and someone to cover for Salah and Mane. Yeah, I think that Sarr from Watford would probably be the best person for it, but £40 million, yeah, it's a bit too much in my personal opinion anyway. Liz says, agreed. Dave, Magic says, corner lad with a fresh trim. Yes, I do have a fresh trim. I had a cut today. I needed a cut. Like long hair for me. Long hair for me is terrible. Like I can't deal with it. I say that in mind. I had a Gareth Bale haircut like 2 years ago. It was terrible. But yeah, realistically, I think that, you know, overall, I think Liverpool this year, and of course, this is, you know, the most difficult year ever, you know, in terms of transfers due to what has happened around the world. You know, Liverpool, if the pandemic hadn't happened, would already have Timo Werner. We already know this. This is factual. You know, even James Pearce has come out and said that he would have been a Liverpool player by now. Realistically, I think that, you know, and I'll ask Owen this first. Do you think that COVID has had that much bigger impact for Liverpool, that they are, you know, just waiting to see, you know, what happens? Because realistically, football can get stopped again, you know, before, you know, we even completed the season again, realistically. Do you think that, you know, Liverpool are, you know, saving the money up just in case another, you know, lockdown happens then, realistically?
Oh, it's a really interesting question, because it would make absolute sense to hang on. Like we haven't really felt, you know, globally, you know, in society, I don't think we've felt the full effect of COVID yet on the economy, right? And the football economy as well hasn't really. Players are still going for a lot of money, but it's really interesting. This is something I've thought about for many years in terms of transfers. Okay, but I don't know what's going to happen in terms of, will COVID stop football again or not? You know, I mean, we don't know. Obviously, I hope not, because it was, 100 days without football or something? It was absolutely, I don't know. I had to like get hobbies that other people have and stuff, you know? It's really, it was a dark time. It was a dark time. You know, what is really interesting about transfers, and this is something that not many people actually talk about when they talk about transfers, is just a very simple question, right? You've got to think about this. How good are the players? Because, you know, the quality of the player is what makes all of the difference to your team and your results and everything. Obviously, okay, such an obvious thing to say. But in my opinion, you have maybe 10 players in the world, in the entire world, who are worth astronomical figures, whatever it might be. If it's Neymar, 220 million, you know, Neymar, Mbappe, Kevin De Bruyne, we can name them. Thiago, I put in that top 10. And what I mean by the top 10 is they can go into any team and they're a guaranteed success. Of course, you would include Lionel Messi. Would you include Cristiano Ronaldo and Luis Suarez? Now, Ronaldo probably, he would probably improve every player. Luis Suarez maybe less so, only I think 21 league goals last season only. Still a great season for most people, but for him, you can see he's on the way down. But my point is, right, you've got 10 of these players who are worth astronomical figures, and then you have this next bracket, let's call it tier 2, if I can see it on the screen. You've got tier 1, which is tiny, 10 players. Tier 2 is much, much bigger. And you've got hundreds of players, maybe 100 or 200 players who you can sign for less. But they will develop into these top players, and they will also have a huge impact. And you have this tier 2 players, and they're quite famous players, you know, players like Timo Werner or whatever. He's going to be brilliant at Chelsea. Everybody knows that, and they got him for 50 million. You know, unbelievable. What a price. And on the market. But my point is, there's a tier 3, which is thousands of players. And this ranges from N'Golo Kante, who was 2.5 million from Caen to Leicester and won them the league, basically with Mahrez and Vardy. Okay, that triumvirate won them the league. You know, you can say Wes Morgan is a world-class defender, but I'm not going to believe you. But, you know, my point, do you see where I'm getting at here? So Liverpool, by waiting for the financial implications of COVID to really hit and to be cold as ice, and not care about, not care, but take advantage of clubs that are really going to struggle. And if you can pick, like, what do we know about world transfer markets? We don't watch enough football or see enough stats because it's impossible, right? But the people whose job it is to analyze all of the players in all of the world, and who knows that there's, like, a 20-year-old Dutch player from a particular Dutch club who's gonna be a star, but you can pick him up for 5 million, and it'll be 3 million by October the 6th because they're going to need the money, So to wait makes perfect sense to me in that context.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully get what you mean in that aspect of things. I think Liverpool, like you were talking about that tier 1 bit, I think Liverpool have 4 players already in that bracket. And for me, it's both
Who?
Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, and Alisson. I think them 4 are like the top of the bracket, and then I think the rest then, because I wouldn't put Bobby in there, because even though for me I think he is the best false 9 in world football, I think many teams don't play that style, and I think there's only a handful of teams that would use the false 9. But Bobby would be fantastic anywhere he goes, realistically. Doug, do you agree in the sense that Liverpool, they should wait? Because at the minute, of course, Liverpool are losing money. Every team is losing money at this stage, paying everyone, their wages and things like this, transfers as well. At the minute, there's no money unless, like, of course, they're selling players or, selling on things. There's no money coming into the clubs. There's no fans paying, for tickets to go and watch them. Probably, I think I read somewhere, we were talking off camera about, kits and things like this. Liverpool have been so lucky this year with Nike that they've been able to get that 20 or 30% clause in each and every single sale. I think I read somewhere that a club gets somewhere between 3% and 5% of a sale. So if, for example, you of course, buy something for £100, they'd only get about 3 or 4 or 5% off that deal, which is nothing compared, to, today's markets or things like this. Do you think that, Liverpool will hang on to, a large chunk of their money and then, have a look to see what happens? Or, what's your general thoughts and opinions on that?
I think we could actually wait until the very, very last days of the window. I think what you're going to see, you're going to see probably loads of free transfers for clubs. I mean, some of the money that's been spent at the moment. I mean, obviously we've seen Donny van de Beek today signed for Manchester United, and I think it was 39.5 million, which is not too bad as well. We've obviously seen, like, Luis Suarez. He got his contract terminated by Barcelona, and now he's going to Juventus, which is very, very interesting. So I think Liverpool are actually doing the right thing in the transfer window. I think they're just waiting for the right moment, trying to negotiate as much as they can. To be fair, I will say this now. I think we can get Thiago for potentially £22 million. I don't think we're going to pay 30 million. I think if Thiago hands in a transfer request, and fair enough, then I think the money could go down that side of things. So I think they're just waiting for the right moment to buy players for a reasonable price. And obviously the targets that we've had to this season. Obviously, Sarr. I don't see Watford budging from their 40 million price tag. To be honest with you, I think they want to recuperate that. I think they paid 30 million for him at Rennes as well. So, looking at that, I think he might be out of the question. Docker's an interesting one. I don't know how much he's worth, but Liverpool actually do their homework. We did it with Takumi Minamino. Manchester United were prepared to pay £25 million for Minamino, and we saw that for 7.5 million. Michael Edwards being the god that he is, and yeah, he is a god. That guy deserves a statue anyway. I mean, if he gets Thiago this season, then yeah, he deserves a statue anyway. But he's been absolutely fantastic in negotiating in the past. So I think we are waiting for that right moment for the right player to become available. And yeah, we were not overspending, and I think I really like that about us as a club. And you know what, FSG, they get their haters as well, but I think they've done a really good job as owners of the football club, and I think Michael Edwards deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said it on Twitter. I think that FSG, they're doing the perfect thing in the sense that they're not setting this club up for the next 6 months. They're setting it up for the next 10 years. And that's what I think they're doing. Like you said, Doug. I think, and I think Owen has said as well. They're doing superb at the minute by having all the data people to analyze everything that's going on right now, because it's like Owen said, it's impossible to have every single number about a person. It's impossible. And I think that at the minute, those the transfer committee, then, if you want to call it, they've done a superb job ever since Jurgen Klopp's come into the club, realistically, signing the likes of Wijnaldum, Mane at the beginning, and and then moving forward, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson. There's been fantastic signings since Jurgen Klopp's come in, and I think that's the one thing for me that Liverpool have been poor of since Jurgen Klopp's come in, as having a very quiet transfer deadline day. And I think potentially this year Liverpool will have a very active transfer deadline day, in my personal opinion. Anyway, but let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, your thoughts and opinions. Anyway, and any questions as well you have for both Owen and Doug as well, and we will answer each and every single one. Data says my granddad is better than Lovren. Probably. Liz says, do you all think Bale ends up in China this time? Yes, probably.
China. I mean, on a serious note, who wants to go to China right now? It's probably the last.
It's not up to him though. It's not up to him. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like like you said in that interview, like if the club, someone in China will pay 50 million maybe for Bale, then the club will say to him, right, you're going.
Yeah.
And that's his only choice, is to stay in Madrid, where everyone hates him, or go to China. So probably go to China.
And plus, as well, he's going to get paid a nice sum of money. It was $1 million. Was it £1 million per week? I think it was rumored at one point. That's just crazy numbers. Chris says, well, Fabinho is our own Fernandinho. Can play CDM and centre back. Brilliant, versatile player to have. Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think though, Fabinho is a lot better at Fernandinho playing centre back. Just look at Manchester City's season.
Fernandinho, he's a million times Fernandinho.
Just look at the entire season last year when Fernandinho was playing centre back. That's all I got to say about that. Data says he might come back to the Premier League, but could end up in China. Dave said Klopp likes players who can play multi positions. Yeah, absolutely. I think versatility is a very big thing with Jurgen Klopp, for sure. Chris says, I agree with Owen about Fabinho. He played centre back in 1-0 win away to Brighton in the 18-19 season. He was brilliant. So there you go. There's another occasion where Fabinho has played centre back. Data said Milner is a versatile player. He has been a good player. Yeah, there's one player, but that just keeps on, aging. He's like a fine wine. Aging and getting better with each and every single year as well. My chat has decided to skip up massive amounts. Do apologize. There we go. Got it back. Ryan's in as well. How are you, Ryan? Hopefully having a fantastic day. We need to buy players. This brother? Sure. Liz says, I think Fabinho is a natural centre-back. So agreeing realistically with both Owen and Doug. Liz says, Data, I think you meant James freaking Milner. Absolutely. James freaking Milner. Seamus is in. How are you? Or Seamus, anyway. Hopefully having a fantastic day. Good evening, everyone. Fantastic to see you in the comments. Great show, brother. Thank you, Ryan. Much appreciated. Liz says hi to Seamus as well. Ryan says Brewster going to be a great player for us. Yes, I do agree with that. I think he is going to be one of our best attacking players. Maybe not this season, potentially next year. I think he still has a bit of improvement to go before he's banging in the goals, and hopefully he does as well. Chris says Bale too injury prone for me. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of our concern with Gareth Bale, that he is very injured. I think that's pretty much Bale nailed down. Ryan says Liverpool don't need Bale. Yep, agree with that. Dave says he could bail us out of a few situations.
Very good. That was good.
It's very, very good. Oh, Dave, I hate you. Dave, I hate you. Stu said centre backs Diego Llorente. I think Lucas. Jesus Christ, my English is bad enough anyway. Lucas Robertson, Iowa. All the attributes of all 6-match tier ability. Okay, then. I saw one name, and that's Jose Iowa. Of course, we have done videos on Jose Iowa before. Apparently, he's off to Arsenal, which is the gutting thing, and that is a real shame. Nope. Doug's shaking his. He's not going to Arsenal.
Nope. Bid's been rejected. Apparently, Arsenal can't afford him.
Wow.
So
I don't think he's that good. It's an unpopular opinion. That is an unpopular opinion. Yeah. No, well, I don't know. I've how can I can't really, what can I say? I know I live in France, and I speak to lots of people who work in football in France. It's my day job, right? I teach English. I teach to lots of, people who work, professionally in football, and I talk to them a lot about football, which is nice. And Aouar is amazingly talented as a player, as an individual, an amazingly talented guy, and he could be great in the future. He could be. I might be wrong here, and I don't watch enough. I'm going to say it again. I don't watch enough Ligue 1 to make a definitive opinion. But if you look at his stats, and talking to people who follow Lyon really closely, really closely, he's a local boy. So he might not transfer well to another team. Like, he's very well loved there in Lyon, and he's very much in his comfort zone. He thinks he's brilliant. He knows he's brilliant because he's a brilliantly talented guy. But to take him out of there and send him away, he might not adapt so well when the team isn't built around him like it is in Lyon. And if you actually look at his stats in the big games, he doesn't perform. He doesn't have consistency. I've only looked at his stats. I looked at his stats quite closely recently, a couple of months ago. And for me, I don't know. You can't read too much into stats. It's the dangers to read too much into it, especially without seeing him enough, because I haven't seen him enough. But for me, his reputation is sky high, and I wonder how much of the people who rate him so highly
actually rate him as a player.
How many minutes they've actually seen him play? For the people who rate him.
For me, I saw like a couple of games in the Champions League, and he reminded me quite a lot of Gini Wijnaldum in some aspects of things.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But it was like, there was like one game that like all the commentators were, I think it was a Ligue 1 match, and all the commentators were saying he had a good game. I was like, he went missing throughout it, and it was just like little periods that I think he did go missing in that. But there was a question here for Douglas, and that was, Aaron says, what does Doug think of Shane Duffy going to Celtic on loan?
I think it's a great move for Celtic. I think they've been needing a really rough defender. I've seen comments about obviously roughing up Ryan Kent. Please don't. Because obviously ex-Liverpool, of course. But no, Shane Duffy's a great signing for Celtic, and does that pave the way now for Ayer to probably leave? I mean, I've seen comments about that, but it'd be very interesting. But Celtic play like with a sort of a back four. Sometimes it could be a back three. I think they've been very suspect at the back as well. I don't rate Christopher Julian. I'm one of the minority. Obviously, we're watching Scottish football every weekend. I don't really rate him. Our striker now, obviously QPR, Lyndon Dice, gave him an absolute torrid time last season. So I think Shane Duffy's a fantastic signing for Celtic. Yes, it's only a loan deal, but he's been a cracking player for Brighton. So yeah, wish him well. I think he'll do well at Celtic.
Yeah, absolutely. Mo's in as well. Hello, Mo. Says, hope this Thiago transfer goes through. It's stressing me out. It's stressing us out. I will say that. It is stressing us out. Seema says, well, I read that Liverpool, without fans in the stadium, are making a 5 million loss per game. Probably. That's probably realistic, and I think that's probably accurate to that, to be fair. And well, yet again, this is why probably we're not spending the money quite as often. Most as well, without fans in the stadium, I don't think Liverpool will win as many games. Fingers crossed that isn't the case. Fingers crossed that Liverpool keep up the momentum of winning the Premier League, and they can actually go and attack it again, in Jurgen Klopp's own words. Mo also says Mbappe would be a dream signing for Liverpool, but will never happen. Too expensive. He'd be 100% probably the number one player to get, if he was available for some reason. Fingers crossed, maybe in a year's time he does a Messi, says he wants to leave as a final year of his contract situation, and fingers crossed he can leave PSG. Dave, Brill show, lads. Got to go. Talk soon. See you later, Dave. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your day. Data says, see you later, Dave. Chris says, Wijnaldum fee supposedly gone down. I expect some for Thiago. I agree with Doug about Thiago's price tag. I think that was with what we said earlier on in the show. Nerd Boys in as well. I've heard that we will at least get 2 players and maybe 3 from LFC inside sources. Potentially, I think it depends on, again, maybe we might be waiting for, sales and things like this. And I think that realistically is what we are going to be waiting for this year, at least anyway. Chris says, why are we always linked with players who score against us? Saar back in February and Daka for Salzburg in pre-season. Because if they impress Jurgen Klopp wants to sign them. That's as simple as it is. That's what happened with Sadio Mane. None of the data people told him to sign sign Mane. He saw him against us. He scored 3 goals in 12 minutes, and Jurgen went, he's going to be a Liverpool player next year. And that's what happened. And now he's probably the best left winger in world football, in my personal opinion anyway.
He did that with Gini Wijnaldum. If you remember the game between Newcastle and Liverpool, that was the last time they actually beat us, was December 2015. It was the last time they beat us. He scored 2 that day. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, he likes players playing good against them. I think, and plus as well, realistically, and let me go back in the comment. Like Liz has said, Robbo, one of the best signings. I remember Robbo played perfectly against Liverpool with Hull. Jurgen signed him, and now he's the best left back in world football. So, it's a constant thing, and maybe that's a good thing. Nipo says, Robbo really good since the Tsimikas transfer. He's got competition now. He does have competition now, so he does need to step up his game. He also says Real Madrid don't want to move him for some reason. I think that's concerning Gareth Bale. David is in. How are you, Dave? Personally, I'd be worried if we don't get at least 2 quality players, Thiago and one other. I mean, if Everton can bring in 2 decent midfielders, then we should be able to do the same. My thing to that is Everton, they keep on signing players and they keep on finishing ninth. So, it's a bit like that. But I can see what you mean, Billy, in that aspect of things. And to be fair, it might be different now because the quality of players are a lot better, like Allen and, Decore, two good signings, in my personal opinion anyway. Lads, do you agree with that comment there? I'll start with Owen.
Yeah, well, I would add Den Donker. I really like this player. I think he's a very, very good combative midfielder. He's very, very solid player. Everton are backed by Moshiri, aren't they? Sort of behind the scenes. They've got some dodgy things going on behind the scenes. There's some guy who they were going to name the stadium after him. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's some kind of, to me, what do I know? I don't know, but it's something, it seems a little fishy going on that side of the Mersey, Everton, I mean, it's just different. It's a different club with a different financial model, but brings me back to what I said before. I mean, you know that Allen's going to be a hit. People mention Mbappe as a dream signing. You know that he would be a hit, guaranteed. He's going to be a hit, but you can get the next Allen or the next Mbappe for cheaper. They're out there. Pats and Daka that that Doug mentioned before. 24 goals and 6 assists in 31 league games, and I know you're going to tell me it's Austria, the Austrian league, of course. But he's 20. He was 20 years old. He's 21 now. But as a 20-year-old, you're doing a goal or an assist every single match. I don't care what league it is. That's great talent there, So, and a player under Klopp, Robertson didn't show up at Liverpool as the best left back in the world. He's become that. Sadio Mane, same thing. He's become the best. Arguably the best left winger in world football. So yeah, I don't know. We've got the right management team, and we don't need to worry about Everton. Everton. I mean, I'm wearing blue. Got blue backgrounds. If I was an Everton fan, I wouldn't have anything red anywhere near me. But I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't give a crap about the colour blue. I don't associate it with the horror that Everton fans associate red. I don't know. We don't.
To be fair, we don't think of Everton. Everton think of us. I think that's pretty much how it is.
Beautifully put.
David also says, well, centre-backs are least of our priority at the moment. We need a Thiago-type player and a backup for at least one of the front three, because in my opinion, Origi and Shaqiri isn't good enough long-term. I would agree with that in that sense. I think, Doug, Shaqiri, is a player that's constantly injured. Do you think he should leave or could leave this summer?
Well, there's been obviously rumours about Lazio with Origi, potentially, and obviously Roma with Shaqiri. Just going back to the Everton point, Everton are not going to improve until they get rid of short arms Jordan Pickford. I mean, honestly, enough said, because Jordan Pickford is probably the most overrated goalkeeper in the Premier League right now.
Yeah.
Kepa? Can I chuck Kepa into the ring?
Yeah, Chelsea are obviously going for Donnarumma, so that kind of makes sense. I actually think, obviously we're going a wee bit off topic now. I think Everton would have done well with a Sergio Romero, because I think he's better than Pickford. I think Pickford is absolutely shocking in goal.
It's a good shout.
And you made a good point, Connor. Actually, Ramsdale for Sheffield United now, he reminds me a wee bit of Pickford.
Overrated.
He's for me. He reminds me of Pickford quite a lot. It's just there's like Ramsdale anyway. He reminds me so much of Pickford. There's so much wrong with with certain goalkeepers. You can see that there's I don't know how to phrase it. There's a mistake in them. If that makes sense. And when I look at Pickford and when I look at Kepa, there's so many mistakes in Kepa, and it's not like if he it's not like if he's changed. If you watch his games with Atletico Bilbao, he's the exact same then as he was now.
Yeah.
You know, so realistically, I think that and let's not forget this, Chelsea refused to sign Alisson Becker because he was too expensive. And then they went and signed Kepa. And then they went to sign Kepa for 71 million. Jesus. There's no comparison.
Sorry, how much?
71, wasn't it? Million. I think it was that then. Scotty said, will Thiago sign? Maybe. I think that's the only option I can give you there.
I was just saying how much.
Okay. Okay. Chris says, don't need Mbappe if we get our own Mbappe called Brewster. Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that. Seema says, well, not going to pronounce Kelleher's first name because I'm going to butcher it. Got his first call up to Ireland senior squad this week with a shout out. Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed he can, I think he'll probably do better if he was to go out on loan and try and get some minutes out on loan. But, if he can learn off Alisson and, be better for Liverpool in that way, then, that would be absolutely fantastic. Seamus Moore said they talked about that. Good for him. Yeah, we did chat about it earlier on. Chris says Everton will make a good push to survive another season in the Premier League. Yeah, I agree with that. To be fair, I do agree with that. I have to go, guys. Love the show. See you soon. See you soon, Data. Hopefully have a fantastic rest of your day. Seamus Moore says as well, did they, Liz? I was late to the party. Yeah, we did talk about it a little bit. Just rewind it a little bit. Aaron says Fabrizio Romano should join the show. If I can get Fabrizio Romano on, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. But we have the better thing in Owen. I think that's the better thing. Liz says, no worries, Seamus. It's worth repeating to you, Connor. Try and pronounce his name. Yes, it is.
It was me.
Was it you?
It was me. Queer.
Oh yeah, it was you. Yeah, it was Doug, not me. But I'm terrible with names anyway. I'm god awful with names. Like before we do a show or before we post with anything, I have to put the name in Google Translate and then press the speaker to hear it because I'm I don't want to butcher the name too badly, but I still butcher it anyway. Liz says, Thigh Master has to go.
Shaqiri.
Thigh Master. Yes, there we go.
To be fair, we would love calves like Shaqiri.
Yeah. Liz says as well, dinosaur, of course. Jordan Pickford. Chris says Kepa is the Chelsea manager. Don't forget. Absolutely, don't forget. He is the manager of Chelsea. Liz says, good one, Chris. It was a good one. Liz says Pickford isn't an incident waiting to happen. Absolutely do agree with that. And David says, imagine paying 80 million and getting Kepa and paying 80 million and get Maguire.
Well, we all know that Harry Maguire played 55 games for Manchester United this season. All he needed was a rest.
Good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Guys, if you like this content, then please subscribe. And also subscribe to Doug as well. Because Doug has, I swear Doug has a notebook full of jokes somewhere stashed up. But yeah, I think we're going to end it there, guys. Of course, we've been going for an hour and 13 minutes. I just realized that. I do apologize for everyone watching. Actually, last comment would be, David said, imagine paying the world record fee for a goalkeeper and getting Kepa, a world record fee for a centre-back Maguire. It's like paying Aston Martin price and getting Nitsa. Yeah, it is, to be fair. And then poor Blockhead. Yeah, exactly. Poor Blockhead. Or Slabhead, as I like to call him. I think Slabhead. But yeah, thank you to every single one of you that has tuned in as Doug has just disappeared. Of course, if you guys have enjoyed this video, it's massively appreciated if you could, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit notification bell as well. But Owen, and Doug's back as well. There we go. But Owen, I'll ask you first. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. An absolute pleasure having you on onto the show.
Thank you.
where can we find you on the social medias?
Well, I'm on Twitter at Cop On Podcast. I just recommend listening to Cop On Podcast if you can. You can get it all over the place: Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. I've got Instagram that I don't really use. I'm gonna start doing more videos on YouTube hopefully soon, so that's exciting. And we just started season 3, so we try and do at least one episode every week of Cop On with, and that's for Reds everywhere. So they can get in touch via Twitter or Instagram or I don't know, some other way. Invent. I don't know.
Yeah, but absolute pleasure having you on, mate.
Thank you very much.
It's nice. It's absolutely my pleasure, mate. And Doug, where can we find you on the socials, mate?
My YouTube channel, this is the Dugout Football channel. My Instagram is Douglas.Horn. My Twitter is at nrod1992, and my Facebook is Douglas James Horn. Obviously, go and subscribe to Connor at the Cop Council. Go and subscribe to Owen at Cop.
I'm not allowing him to say it. There's a running joke. There's a running joke, and Owen won't get this, but there's the running joke of there was a video that I did, and I said at the end, go and subscribe to that person, go and subscribe to that person, but first come and subscribe to me. And Doug just loves you love doing it every single video.
But it's fair enough. Yeah, you should. Viewer, make sure you subscribe to Connor first. Absolutely.
But yeah, Doug, finish off the rest of your sentence. I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, but come and subscribe to me as well. But no, absolute pleasure to be on with. Absolute pleasure to be on again, Connor. An absolute pleasure to be on a show with Owen as well. And yeah, I'm on Cop On quite a lot as well. So you get to listen to my Scottish dulcet tones. Apparently, Brian, one of the other co-hosts of Cop On, actually said I sound like Alan Hansen when I'm on the radio. So that's a really nice compliment to have.
Yeah, it is an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. As always, absolutely love having as many Reds on you as possible. Communicating with you guys in the comment section down below. But until next time, guys, that is going to be it from us. Thank you to everyone that has viewed the video, and I do really much appreciate it. But until next time, guys, that is it from us. I've been Connor from the Cop Council, and we will all see you all later on.